Right, let's discuss this further. We're now joined via Zoom by Police and Prison Civil Rights Union POPCRU spokesperson Richard Mamabolo. Mr. Mamabolo, thank you so much for joining us here on SABC News. We appreciate you giving us your time.
Good afternoon to you and the viewers.
As a start, let's get your reaction then in terms of the vaccination program indeed getting started, and of course the police finally then getting their vaccines. We saw earlier on the minister quite excited about the fact that police officers will be getting inoculated. What is your reaction then this afternoon?
Well, we were quite elated over the start of the vaccine process. I think the fact that you had the minister, the national commissioner, and our president, Minister Bheki Cele, vaccinating this morning gives a lot of encouragement to our members to go out in their numbers when the rollout starts on Thursday. So a lot of our members have obviously been complaining about the fact that they are frontline workers. They've been tasked with ensuring that people do obey the lockdown regulations, and yet they had not been vaccinated. Hence, you find that the infection rates within the SAPS are currently standing at over 30,000, and of course with 680 deaths. So that has been quite a worrying factor for our members. The morale was quite low, but since they know that from Thursday onwards they will be getting vaccinated, there has been a lot of excitement. And of course, I think what has been demonstrated today is the fact that because we had 600 more members who were vaccinated this morning. So there's a lot of excitement, and members are actually looking forward to being vaccinated. We think that from the experiences that they've seen wherein their colleagues get infected, the work environment had become bad, or of course that had been delaying the service, the kind of service delivery the SAPS would like to contribute towards society. All those challenges would obviously now be put behind us, as members would know that every time they go out to ensure that they patrol, they man roadblocks and they fight crime, the chances of them obviously being infected to an extent where they even lose their lives would not be there. So it's something that we quite appreciate as a union.
Yeah. Mr. Mamabolo, you're talking about the fact that, things have started to be quite bad in the police force in terms of police getting infected. Unfortunately, on the back of that, of course, we know that some police indeed actually succumbed to COVID-19. Perhaps you can talk to us about that and just how bad the situation had become on the ground for police.
Look, it had become quite bad. You would go to different police stations and you find that almost all, the entire staff complement is infected. We've been complaining about challenges of our stations being under-resourced. And of course, I think one of the good things that we have managed to overcome throughout this period has been the fact that through the steering committee of the SAPS, we have been working closely towards ensuring that, firstly, the provision of PPEs is sufficient, because in the beginning there were challenges around that. Now, after that, I think the main concern really was mainly about the vaccination process. And of course, having understood that our members, of course, work in volatile situations, they work in environments which are not controlled as opposed to classrooms and hospitals. So their chances of getting infected were quite high. So I think when you engage members from different backgrounds, what is quite common about them is that they are willing to be vaccinated, and we have not luckily had instances where members are doubtful about the impact of the vaccine, because there has really been a lot of bad media coverage around the effects of the vaccines. But however, as a union, we've taken initiatives from some time ago to engage with our structures across provinces, and the message is quite clear. So we are definitely expecting that over this this coming days, 180,000 of our members from the SAPS will be going out to the different 108 vaccination stations across the country.
Yeah, and there was some concerns, we're talking about working conditions and so forth, and certainly the police must continue to work, even though they are, having this vaccination drive and certainly having to take the vaccine. There were concerns about whether or not, the police would be disrupted during this time that they're having this vaccination process. What plans are there in place to ensure that the police are not disrupted during this time? I would imagine, of course, not everyone's going exactly at the same time. Obviously, they have times and so forth, but are we sure, of course, as it is a valid concern given the crime rate in our country, that the police are not disrupted entirely?
Yes, we think that despite the fact that there have been such concern, the main thing is that there will be, rotational processes that will be conducted across all these different areas. For example, we've got 108 vaccination centers. So you would then ensure that from each station, you get a certain group going in the early mornings and then other groups going following that. So that would not necessarily disrupt the work of the police. So police, in fact, beyond the vaccination process, because you remember that they had indicated that it would take teachers about 2 weeks. Now, police are half of the size of teachers in the country, and if they can take 2 weeks for teachers, it would mean that it would be lesser for police officers. But as well, the fact that many police officers have been sitting at home because they were ill or they could not come and others are isolating was what actually was disrupting service delivery. Now that they're being vaccinated, we think it will obviously as well enhance the kind of service that our people are expecting from the SAPS.
Yeah. Just in closing, I mean, I can't let you go without talking about this. I mean, yesterday we saw a number of your police and certainly some of your members, I would assume, out in KZN at Nkandla, where we saw, huge crowds of people coming in to support the former president, Jacob Zuma. I mean, what was your reaction to that? No doubt it's another situation that you're talking about in terms of situations where police can certainly get infected with the coronavirus. Of course, the drive has started today in terms of getting police vaccinated, but it is important to get your reaction in terms of, what were your immediate thoughts seeing so many police yesterday having to be out there in a situation that might have indeed been dangerous for them?
Yeah, no, definitely the situation was dangerous, and of course it's against the regulations, the lockdown regulations. However, I think we need to commend the decision that the police took not to react to certain provocations, because clearly they were provoked, and of course I would imagine some people would have wanted that police react in a way that would result the entire situation into chaos. So we think that of course we still stand by the fact that people need to obey the regulations, and police will continue enforcing those regulations. However, the stance that they took was quite sensible in the fact that they avoided what would not otherwise have been something to be welcomed by anyone in the country. So we think that we need to encourage them further. But again, with the vaccination, we think that it will actually ensure that the morale that was quite low would obviously be enhanced.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your input, sir. We appreciate you giving us your time here on SABC News. And, of course, good luck to you and your members as we continue the vaccination drive of police officers. Thank you, sir.